Hey, what's good, YouTube? Today we're gonna react to Joel Embiid caught cheating by my nigga Jimmy. But let's get into a reaction. Obviously, today he gonna be talking about Joel Embiid. I think he gonna talk about Joel Embiid ducking the smoke of Jokic for the past 6 years. But let's get into a reaction though. And Denver.
I've got a quiz for y'all. Won't take long. Just 3 questions.
Okay, we got a quiz.
Okay, first question. Is this a foul?
Now with Zach Collins on
No. No.
If you answered no, you would be correct. Good job. Okay, it's gonna get a bit harder now. Is this a foul?
The corner, the ball fake that he's so good at. No, another
No.
offensive rebound from Embiid.
Look like a block.
And Osman blocked him.
I lied. It didn't get any harder. Because if you said no, you again are correct. Now, last question. And this will stump even the biggest Hoops fans. Is this a foul?
Simon. Reese Maxey over to Joel Embiid,
No.
who already dropped.
And you got it right. Because of course you did. Because this is obviously not a foul. At least not to anyone who's played or watched or even been around basketball at any capacity in their life. And yet Joel Embiid continues to feast off of these phantom calls night after night. How is he doing this? Has he performed witchcraft on these refs? Does Embiid have dirt on Adam Silver? How is this a foul? Is Joel Embiid cheating the game? Or is he just using the rules to his advantage like countless other players before him?
Just like countless other players before him. He's exploiting the fucking officiating, bro. Like, he doing the same shit that, Prime James Harden did, bro, on the Houston Rockets. The same exact shit.
Today's video is sponsored by Factor 75. Factor is a gourmet meal kit service that makes hitting your nutritional goals easier than ever before. Free wellness shot 75 was so dominant that teams would... Do y'all remember back in the early 2000s when Shaquille O'Neal was so dominant that teams would just hack him on purpose to try to stop him? I mean, the strategy was genius. Throughout his prime, Shaq shot 76% from the field within 3 feet of the hoop. Sent him to the line where he shot an abysmal 52%, and you've essentially found yourself an in-game cheat code. Every time a team fouled Shaq while he was deep in the paint, they saved themselves about a half a point. Foul him enough, and this half-point advantage starts to add up very quickly. And so this is exactly what teams did. From 2000 through 2002, the 3-year peak of Shaq's NBA career, he attempted 11.4 free throws a game, leading the league in free throw attempts every season by a wide margin. Over the past 3 seasons, Joel Embiid has averaged 11.8 free throw attempts per game.
But he actually
Let me say that again. Shaquille O'Neal lived in the paint and was getting sent to the line on purpose so much that the act of fouling him literally has its own name, and Joel Embiid somehow shoots more free throws than he did. Ladies and gentlemen, this shouldn't be possible, and yet it is. Throughout the last 45 years of modern NBA history, Embiid has more career free throw attempts per game than any other player, with now over 10 free throw attempts per game. The first player to climb over double digits since Wilt Chamberlain did it in the 60s. James Harden spent half a decade as the best scorer in the league and was almost disregarded throughout those 4 years because of his foul baiting and rule bending. And even he is all the way down here. But Embiid's knack for drawing fouls goes even further, because here are the most frequent...
Embiid got more than Harden? Story? Like, what? That's crazy.
...shooters in NBA history based on free throw attempts per 36 minutes. Here's LeBron, here's Jordan, here's James Harden, and way up here is Shaquille O'Neal. And here's Joel Embiid.
Alright, this shit ridiculous.
This is outrageous. The foul merchant label Embiid has earned himself over the last few years, as harsh as it is, may just be the reality of his game. This season, Embiid has been on a tear, averaging the 2nd most points per game in a season in modern NBA history, and being well on his way to winning back-to-back MVPs. It's been a historic season for the big man so far. His team is winning, he's putting up big numbers and historic performances. We should be celebrating Embiid right now, but we're not. The NBA community has
like Embiid hurt again. He might have a torn meniscus, so he might not make the 65 game mark.
Turned its back on Joel and rebuked his achievements this season because the man is cheating. Well, not really. But kind of. He isn't breaking any rules or anything. He's just breaking the sort of unwritten code laid in place for NBA players around the league. The antics, the gimmicks, the way he's drawing fouls and flopping all over the court has become so egregious that even 36 points a night has not spared him from criticism. Last week, Embiid had a monster performance against the Spurs, where he dropped 70 points and 18 rebounds on 68% true shooting. According to the NBA's game score metric, Embiid's game ranks as the 4th best single-game performance in modern NBA history. But instead of cheers and amazement, fans were left unimpressed, even repulsed by the clinic Embiid put on. All of this criticism stemming from one major issue people have with Embiid's game right now. Free throws, and more free throws. 70 points is mind-boggling. But if 30% of those points come from the line, and how you got to the line was suspect in the first place, does this performance still have any merit? Or is it just one big display of how a player has mastered the loopholes and gimmicks of the game we love? Well, it's probably a little bit of both. We know teams foul Giannis a lot to slow him down. We know Kobe Bryant was a master at baiting players into fouls. And we just discussed how Shaq got to the line so much because teams wanted him there. Embiid, on the other hand, is probably closer to a prime James Harden in this sense than he is to a traditional dominant big. For years, NBA fans couldn't stand the way James Harden played the game. His point totals were seen as just a symptom of the way he would bend the rules to his favor and manipulate the games to boost his numbers. And he might have actually been able to beat these allegations if his antics actually worked in the playoffs. But they never quite did. Embiid, at least at this moment, is cut from the same cloth. Crazy numbers, historic nights, while stacking up scoring titles off of seemingly pure tricks and schemes.
Because, like, bro, once you go to the playoffs, man, all those, like, flopping and fucking foul baiting shit don't work because it ends up getting more physical and the refs start letting more shit slide. So it's like, bro, it's quiet. Yeah, it's better get these tough buckets or else, bro.
At least this is the general perception right now. But is this the reality of Embiid's game? Or are we just a bit too skeptical of his dominance? Here's a game where Shaquille O'Neal scored his career-high 61 points during the 1999-2000 NBA season. By this point, the hack-a-Shaq was in full effect. Teams were fouling the man just to stop him from scoring in the post. But look at some of these foul calls throughout this game. This doesn't appear to be a foul, and yet it was called as one. This was also called a foul, and so is this. Here's a shooting foul where the defense hardly even made contact. And here's another one that really didn't need to be called. Throughout this game, Shaq got to the line 12 times. These phantom calls made up 6 of those trips and 8 extra points on the board for the big man. Here's a game from Michael Jordan's 1989-1990 season. The game where he scored a career-high 69 points. And by this point, he was the NBA's premier superstar. And so he got superstar calls, like this one, and this one,
Jordan gets Elo airborne.
Oh, and this one too. In fact, during this away game, Cavaliers fans...
Like, I think the difference between Mike and Shaq when it comes to this fouling shit is that, like, Mike and Shaq, when they got to the playoffs, like, they wasn't looking for the fouling shit. Like, you could legit see James Harden and Embiid when they get to the playoffs, they do the exact same move and fucking flop, bro. Like, bro, both these niggas be flopping like crazy to draw fucking fouls. And it's like, bro, in the playoffs, you're not getting these calls. Like, you better just hoop. You better just hoop instead of doing a step back, chucking up 3 and shit. Like, bro, you better hoop, nigga.
Losing it over the disparity
like Mike and Shaq
and favoritism
hoop. Like,
the refs were showing Michael.
They might get phantom calls because, like, you know, they're MVP candidates. One of the top players in the league. Top players in the league always be getting phantom calls and shit. So it's like, it is what it is. But it's like, when you foul baiting and shit, it's like, yo.
Now watch Michael get to the line here. They're going to really get mad.
It's like, you're supposed to be so good. Like, you shouldn't have to foul bait, bro, to get buckets.
And for good measure, here's another one. The existence of superstars getting treated different than other players is not new to the NBA.
Nah, that ain't nothing new.
And I show you all of this to say that not only is Joel Embiid not the first player to use the rules to his advantage, but he's also not the first player to receive favorable superstar treatment. A few years ago, Peter Lee,
all the
a data
superstars
analyst
get
and NBA
favorable
fan,
treatment,
wrote a great piece about the idea of superstar calls and the validity of their existence. Within his research, Peter collected all of the last 2-minute data from the NBA, dating from 2015 to 2019 and put each type of foul within these reports into different categories. Incorrect calls, or calls made when there wasn't actually a foul, and incorrect no calls, which is when a player got fouled but no call was made. He then gave an advantage rate and a disadvantage rate by comparing the rates at which players received correct calls or incorrect calls, and if the call was in their favor or not. He then categorized every player in the league based on merit into 3 tiers: superstars, stars, and non-stars. Now, what makes this research next level is that last 2-minute data is the most objective method to review officiating in the NBA. Since its introduction in 2015, last 2-minute data documents every call made within the last 2 minutes of every game that is within 3 points. All of these calls are then reviewed and reported by a league operations team to determine the accuracy of each and every call. As Peter mentions in his article, they provide transparency to referee performance and the closest thing that we have to objective truth when it comes to the accuracy of a call or no call. And within his data, Peter tracked over 38,000 of these calls from nearly 2,000 games from 2015 to 2019. And after reviewing this data, he concluded that superstars are over 20% more likely to be advantaged on offensive calls compared to even stars of the league. In other words, superstars are more likely to get a foul call where there wasn't a foul 20% more often than anyone else.
We all know this, though.
Overall, the referees tend to swallow their whistle, make incorrect no calls at a relatively even rate across all player groups, but are more likely to give lenient foul calls to superstars on offense.
Makes sense.
Superstars receive preferential treatment on both offense and defense compared to stars and non-stars. They are most likely to receive incorrect foul calls on offense and commit incorrect no calls on defense, which proves the existence of superstar calls even in the last 2 minutes of close games. It's a fantastic article, and I've left a link in the description if anyone wants to check it out. And all of this data just confirms what we already knew. Superstars get calls. So then why is Joel Embiid getting criticized for being on the receiving end of this star treatment when countless players before him did the same thing? Joel Embiid is the reigning MVP and scoring champion. Of course he's going to get some favorable calls going his way. But just like referees give preferential treatment to superstars, fans give preferential treatment to certain players as well. Specifically, players who have proven that their tactics and antics actually work when it matters.
Exactly.
36 points per game is no fluke. But when your production and efficiency plummet by nearly 25% in the postseason, and your superpowers wear off when your team needs you most, all of a sudden that 36 a night feels a bit fraudulent. I feel like at this point in his career, Embiid's reputation precedes him. And right now, even above his incredible scoring abilities, his reputation is a choke artist. The man is a legit megastar, but it is still difficult to just look past.
And what also get people tight is that Embiid is like 320 pounds, bro. And this man be flopping. It's like, bro, you were mad big to be fucking falling on the floor, bro. You already fucking injury prone on some shit. So it's like, bro, for one, you shouldn't even be falling on the floor, because what if you get fucking hurt again, right? But it's like, bro, you mad big to be flopping. Like, bro, you're a 7-footer that weighed 300, and 320 pounds, bro. Like, there's no way one bump should drop your ass on the floor. There's no way, bro. Like, that type of shit get people tight too.
Just playoff blunders. You want to know if a player's play style is actually effective? If it's more than just a quick gimmick? If it works in the playoffs?
Facts.
And as great as he's been in the regular season, it's hard to look at Embiid's performances this year without the lens of skepticism because of his playoff lows. Right now, he exists within the same vein as players like Allen Iverson and James Harden. MVP caliber players, scoring fiends, and offensive juggernauts who continue to fall flat when it mattered most. Is Joel Embiid cheating the game of basketball? No. Embiid is far from the first player to boost his game with brazen schemes and rule-bending methods. He's not the first player to benefit from superstar treatment. And he's also not the first player to receive criticism for it.
He's not.
Hope you all enjoyed. And as always, until next time.
Hey, fire video from Jimmy. I thought he would talk more about how he been ducking Jokic in fucking Denver for like 6 years, which is fucking crazy. But hey, I don't think Joel Embiid is fucking cheating the game. Like, bro, he just exploiting officiating, and yeah, he's getting MVP calls as it should be, man. Like, As we all know, superstars be getting, you know, the no calls and be getting, like, you know, crazy amount of calls to send them to the foul line and shit. Like, bro, we all know this. Like, superstar players is treated different than fucking the regular Joe role player. Like, bro, we all know this. But it's like, what really get people to tell about Joel Embiid, man, is definitely the playoff droppage, bro. Like, this man numbers drop. Which is like, yo, you cooking niggas in the regular season. You putting up fucking 35, 15, all these crazy ass numbers, but it's like you make it to the playoffs and you drop to like fucking 20 points, bro. 20 points and 12. Like, huh? Like, bro, I guess that foul bait don't be working for real. And it's like, bro, Joel Embiid have a lot of fucking playoff lows, man. Looking like a playoff choker, like James fucking Harden, okay? But, hey, it is what it is. But it's like, bro, Joel Embiid, man, like, bro, he's one of the top regular season performers for sure. But it's like in the playoffs, he just don't be showing up for real. But you know, like, comment, subscribe, suggest anything else to interact to, you know, down below in the comments. But check it out and next one.